That is all I can understand. No figure has been taken to him.
Despite the conflicting figures and incoherence in the narratives of some of these interviewees, it is evident that the casualty figure in the Baga incident was not more than 36. The graves shown to the team included those of 25 Boko Haram members who were buried by members of the community in line with religious dictates, as well as those of 6 civilians who drowned in Doro Fish Dam were scampering for safety from the exchange of gunfire between the terrorists and the Joint Task Force.
This is where our soldiers who are on patrol were ambushed. The soldier now used a talk to the base to report on the encounter. So the reinforcement led by me, never could see Ukochi. Immediately we arrived at this point. We look ahead 100 meters. We saw a group of people gathered. So we now use our halogen light to indicate whether they are friends or foes. So when we now saw, we saw all militant, various of age brackets, but they are mostly youths. So as we reach that area, we are now trying to assess our front. We use this barrier with our troops. So on our assessment, it was when we now hear firing. Power, power, power. I now look around and say, what must have gone on? We had another one, pra, pra. So we now started hearing Muje. So Muje means, let's go. Muje, Muje. So thereafter, when we now had Muje, Muje, we repaired. We had to push and firing, and they were firing. They are firing in like a caterpillar response, band from band. They will fire with so, and again we are also assessing because of casualty rate.
This fact was confirmed by an international television station, Al Jazeera. It says in its report filed by Ndege Yvonne that there were no mass graves in Baga to suggest the outrageous figures being claimed in some circles. Neither is it probable that 2,000 houses were burnt in such a community. A woman, Fatima Amadou, who spoke with Al Jazeera, said her building was set ablaze by a group of men and that it was in the character of the Boko Haram insurgents to attack civilians and soldiers in the community. Here is what Al Jazeera found out on its visit to Baga.
Baga town in the northern part of Borno state is swarming with soldiers, just over 2 weeks after fighting between Boko Haram and the military. Local politicians and an emergency relief organization said 200 civilians had been massacred in the crossfire and that their bodies had been dumped in a mass grave, but the military say only 30 died. The media have not been allowed in until now. Fatima Amadou lost 3 of her relatives in the violence and her home was burned down.
We were all asleep when a group of men set fire to our house. Me, my children and grandchildren ran out for our lives. We have lost everything.
But Fatima says she doesn't know how many people were killed in total and knows nothing about a mass grave. Other residents we spoke to said the violence started when Boko Haram fighters attacked villagers and killed a soldier, and the military fought back. The military say only 30 homes were burned down in the violence, but Human Rights Watch say they've watched satellite images that showed more than 2,000 buildings were destroyed in the fighting, some of them by the military.
In Baga,
the military denied burning any homes and showed us weapons they seized from Boko Haram fighters they killed. They say they were only protecting villagers. This is where Boko Haram fighters who died in the violence are buried, and there are not more than 20 graves here. The military say 1 or 2 civilians might have been killed. The military refused to have their faces filmed. They say this is the only graveyard in Baga and that 200 civilians were not killed in the crossfire. So there are no 200 graves?
If there are, look at the whole of the cemetery here. Are they up to 200? Look at it.
And the mass grave people are talking about?
Why the mass grave? Is there anyone that look like mass grave? Is there anyone? Mass grave usually is bigger. But these ones are one man or grave. So why is it?
Back in the main town, some people are trying to go back to their normal way of life, but many are on edge. The military say Boko Haram fighters who escaped have fled into the bush and could be back to attack Baga again. Yvonne Dege, Al Jazeera, Baga, Nigeria.
It is, however, instructive to note that before they were flushed out of Baga, the Boko Haram terrorists had seized a school, sacked its pupils and teachers, and made the school buildings their operational base. They stockpiled arms and ammunition and formed roadblocks to extort money from residents of the community. However, today, Baga has returned to its normal life, with business and social activities resuming in earnest. Thanks to the operations of the multinational Joint Task Force, which is committed to carrying out its mandate in line with acceptable rules of engagement.
In every operation, you are given rules of engagement. These rules of engagement must be followed. If you don't follow rules of engagement, the international community is there to see you and cover you. Because you like it or not, there's a satellite out there that is taking picture of what exactly you are doing when operations are going on. All they do is to turn the satellite and to play back to you. It's just like cameras where you don't even know who is near you, who is snapping what action you are doing. At the end of the day, it is sent out into the world. And that is what will betray you. That is why any action you take, make sure you take appropriate action within the law. Anything outside it, if there's any evidence against you, of course, you pay for that.
Let's talk about how we can restore peace, how we can rebuild our society. We believe that peace shall come to Borno, to Yobe, and the Northeast as a whole in the not too distant future. It is amusing. Sometimes it amazes me when people say, this thing will come to an end and very soon by the grace of God.
It is important that public commentators avoid making false allegations and comments which have the capability of painting Nigeria in a bad light before the international community, as well as demoralizing security personnel involved in the current efforts to secure our country from the activities of terrorists.